Can we like start from the beginning if you don't mind? Like when in your life you knew, and I meant to do that right away. I kind of got off topic, but like when you kind of had a feeling, like started questioning yourself.
So this is a long and complicated and mildly sad story of self-denial.
We're prepared for that, and I would honestly hope that as comfortable as you are, be as raw about it, because I think that's the kind of stuff that people need to hear.
When I was a child, like we're talking like 5, I was honestly like questioning, like, was I meant to be born a girl? And I just kind of like thought that was the thing, and then didn't really know how to process it. I didn't know, like, we grew up in the 90s and 2000s. Like, non-binary was not a common term, right? So I just kind of like ignored it, decided to not address it. And then when I was a teenager and I started going through puberty, I got horribly depressed. Warning, this is uncomfortable for probably a lot of people, but I engaged in self-harm. I became actually suicidal.
How like what age were you?
14,
Yeah.
15. I started going to therapy. I was put on mood stabilizers. But shortly after starting that, my dad said, I know people who are on antidepressants and they're addicted and they're zombies, and I would rather you're self-medicating. So I shut down completely at that point. I stopped going to therapy. I stopped telling my therapist when I was there anything. And went back to ignoring. And it got me through life. It wasn't great, but it got me through it. And then COVID hit. And I realized just how much everything I was doing was performative. I started questioning my gender again. I started questioning who I was, what that meant. And I was terrified to come out because I was like, okay, well, I don't think I'm a man. Like, I have masculine traits, but I don't think that's what I am. Once I came to terms with that, I was a mess because my wife is incredibly queer. I was the first, as far as she knew, man that she had dated. And I was like, she's gonna leave me, right? Even though there was no evidence to support it. And I told her, and she was like, okay, cool. Like, what does that mean? It's like, I don't know yet. I'm not sure what I want to do. Like, I'm thinking about going on hormones, but I'm afraid with my mom's genetics that I'm going to grow fucking giant boobs and I'm going to be uncomfortable about it. And then she was also like, oh my God, they're going to leave me because like they're figuring themselves out and like this is going to end. So we're both panicking. The other is going to leave.
Yeah.
That is the most wholesome. Keep going.
We get it figured out. I decide I'm going to start going on hormones. Go on like the basic starting dose, realize I feel so much better. Just waking up felt better. And from that point forward, it's been like, well, actually, I want more. So my dosage has gone up and things like that. But that's how we got to where I am now.
Had you gotten, into this process earlier in life, like pre-puberty, do you think that's something that maybe would have changed? Because I know that's why the people try to go on puberty blockers.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%. Had I like stayed in therapy, had I found the words for it, I guarantee you I would have started this when I was 15. Um, and at that age, like twitching, like, and they wouldn't have given me hormones at 15. It would have been puberty blockers. Because anybody who's underage, like, that's what they do. They're not doing surgery on children. The most they're doing is puberty blockers and then assessing, like, is this dysmorphia? Is this something else? Is it dysphoria? Like, they will assess that before going further.
Because I mean, I know that's I don't want to say a talking point, but that's what a lot of people who are just straight up transphobic will resort to. It's like, well, no, it's mental health issues. Well, yeah, no shit, it's mental health issues, but it's more than that. You can't just chalk it up to one generalization there.
If you think that they're going to do gender reassignment surgery on a child, like, I don't even know what to tell you.
Well, it's where are you getting this information from too? I mean, you're probably hearing it from some drunk uncle that still has a Confederate flag on his truck. Not a doctor. You're not hearing it from a doctor or any medical professional.
Even in Minnesota, being an informed consent state, as an adult, I would have to go to a therapist who is licensed to perform like assessments for gender dysphoria and get cleared by them before I'm even allowed to start talking to a doctor about planning the surgery. And then, like Alphabet Seeds had said, you're on a year-long wait list.
And that's again, not a child. That's a full-grown adult. That is
me at 32 years old.
Yeah. So again, just recapping, I know we're repeating ourselves a little bit here, but in a very liberal state, the most liberal part of arguably the most supportive state for gender affirming care, it is still a huge pain in the ass and a major drawn out process.
The amount of shit you have to go through to get any kind of affirming surgery is insane.
Yeah. And it's not just like potential like psychological evaluations, it's even just finding a doctor.
And gender affirming care is not even limited to trans or queer people. Like, if somebody goes, like a guy goes and gets hair plugs or whatever, like gets that surgery because they're self-conscious about like balding, that's gender affirming surgery. The things that I have done is laser hair removal on my face to get rid of my facial hair, which is incredibly expensive. Like, it's $250 a session. And it's spread out over a ton of sessions.
How often are they?
So it's like, what?
How often are they too?
Once every 6 weeks. For anybody who doesn't know, I am non-binary. I do lean towards femme presenting. But it is still trans. And some non-binary people, like, so I'm only speaking for myself, some of them don't enjoy being called trans.
Admittedly, for the longest time, I was so bad about misgendering. Mainly people who identify as they, them. And a lot of it was just I didn't understand it at first, too. And after a while, I realized it doesn't even matter if I do understand it. It just matters. So just do it. You go by they, them. Is it because you do some things masculine, do some things feminine?
Yeah, it fits me better. Like, the long, complicated answer is, like, any work, but don't call me he, him exclusively. But they, them is an easy catch-all.
No, so thank you for kind of clearing that up for me and a lot of people. But it's so funny because people that are anti pronouns for still whatever stupid fucking reason. I don't know how you're that scared of two little words, but it usually in the process
Especially
of
words
calling that out.
they use.
Yeah, they're using them, but they're usually saying they, them in the process of explaining their disdain for it. And it's like, you did it. You're so close. You're so close to
You're
getting
so
this.
close.
I've gotten a job at Activision Publishing Minneapolis. I'm going to be a QA tester. I show up and they stick us in this tiny room, and I'm the last one to arrive, and there's one seat left. And I said, "Oh, I see. Stick the emo kid in the corner." And I'm pretty sure, Alphabet, you said like that's where you belong.
That is exactly what I said.
Yeah. And
We had just met.
yes, like these are our first words to each other, and I was instantly enamored. So we worked together for a while, and I find out she's got who we believed at the time to be a girlfriend.
Yep. Yeah, I thought I was a gold star lesbian.
So I'm just like, okay, well, that's out of the question, right? Like, she likes girls, I'm a boy. Boy and girl in denial, non-binary in denial, but I'm a boy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, I'm cool with being friends. Everybody at Activision thought we were dating before we were. Like, because even though we were just friends, we flirted so hard.
Relentlessly. Though there were a few people who thought we were siblings, which is weirder.
Yes.
Because of how hardcore we were flirting with each other.
And then, yeah, we've been together since, and it's been great.
But another important thing about, like, talking about and, like, to and with trans people is that they don't become, like, a new person. They have always been that person. They are just now expressing the person that was there. So I know it can be hard for, especially, like, cisgendered people to kind of wrap their head around like the way that their memories work, because you might see the person as they were when you knew them, like, you know, before they transitioned.
Yeah.
But it's important to not dead name or misgender them when referring to something that happened in the past before they transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
Again, everyone is going to be different. Some people it might not bother them. Other people, it might be extremely, like, traumatizing. So it's just...
Err on the side of caution is a general rule.
Err on the side of caution, and if you're really close to someone, ask what they prefer, like, how they kind of view themselves in the past, because it's it can be a really enlightening conversation, too.
And it's like, none of us are asking for perfection. Literally, all we're asking for is respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that respect just means trying.
Yeah. My kids, I'm pretty sure I know who they are, but that might come up sometime. And I want to know how to handle that.
Just try. Like, that's literally just try.
I think that's totally fair and valid.
And don't come at your kid going, "Are you gonna get the surgery?"
Don't ever say that to anyone.
Yeah.
And tell them that you think they're making a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't try to tell those people how they feel.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. I think like the best thing you can do is just be like open, patient, caring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just be a good parent. But I mean, coming out too, that's I can't imagine what stress is built up around that though too. I mean, how did you know also that you were queer?
Oh, I don't know.
You liked girls?
You like girls, I guess. Yeah, this is the first time you.
But,
Yeah.
An interesting thing happened when I came out. Other people came out too.
That's awesome. That is really cool.
And talked to me, and I became friends with them. And like, so I think that again kind of speaks to how important visibility is, even when it's hard. Like if you have the ability to like be fully yourself in public, to like present visibly queer, and not be afraid. Like that's awesome, because that can so easily send a message to someone who is scared.
I again have friends and family like, well, just I don't want to see it. I don't need it in my face. It's like that's kind of the point. Like we're trying to get to a point so we don't need to put it in your face. Like it's just basic acceptance. It's not like people are coming over and having sex on your couch or something. It literally does nothing to you.
Right.
Wow, what if they sexually assault someone? That's because they're a sexual predator, not because they're gay or trans.
Like it also, like something that you probably take for granted is using the bathroom in public. Right?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Where like, oh, I have to decide, like, depending on what I'm wearing, I'm either going to get stared at in the men's room or potentially be accused of doing something in the women's room.
Meanwhile, you have to piss.
Yeah, all I want to do is fucking piss. Please, just let me piss.
Yeah.
And like, I'll default to going in the men's room because I'd rather be harassed than be accused of harassment. Like, that's the choice that I make.
Yeah, you did kind of mention earlier other things I didn't think about, that you're now going to have to get mammograms at some point in your life. Like that's probably, people don't think about things like that too. Like you're not just doing this for the sake of doing it. There's risks you're taking doing it.
Right.
There's weights to it, and it's, again, that's no one else's, but you don't need people adding more weight to it and more stress and strife when you're already having to make these decisions. Like, do I want to potentially expose myself to breast cancer now? It doesn't sound like you're asking for much. You're just asking to be accepted and respected. That's it. And it sucks that the opposite of that is, so many of your peers across the country are fighting for the right just to exist. We covered this at length, that it is a struggle in places where there is an abundance of support. I was trying to just look up like self-harm statistics, and I mean, we all know it's staggering, but trying to like pinpoint it, it's so hard for accurate research to get done because everything is so vastly different, and also because the resources for that are being taken away from everybody. That's a lot of why we're talking about this. But it's right, just, yeah, go ahead.
It's self-report, and people are afraid to admit it. So yeah, one final disclaimer, like, this is my experience. This is Alphabet's experience. We do not speak for the entirety of the queer community.
Nope.
Yeah. You are a trooper. You are you're a great representative of everything too. And I'm very lucky to have friends like you too, who are willing to be this patient and willing to educate.